My first question for you, Joel, is I think you have a unique background because you're not just doing the AI tech part,
Hmm.
but you have an entrepreneurial mind. And I think a lot of the other subset creators in AI have an entrepreneurial mind, but they're not they're not coming from spending the whole career in that and thinking strategically in that level. You've also built multi-million dollar divisions and nonprofits. How do you feel like you see strategy differently as it comes to AI than other people who are diving headfirst into AI?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about this lately. It's the flaws that we have as humans when we get AI. They're not going away. We're just bringing in those flaws to AI, and our strengths are also coming straight with us into AI. So just because somebody gets AI, it's gonna supercharge your abilities, but it's not just gonna make you somebody that you're not. So I think the main difference is, and I also coach executives and coach leaders, and I'm starting to see the same pattern that when people come into AI just to use AI and then figure out what to use it, it's not as useful as when you already know what you want to do. Hey, I want to, I want to do all these things. I have this idea for a business, or I want to educate people on leadership. And then you bring in AI and it can supercharge what you're trying to do, but you already have a goal that's not just using AI for AI's sake. You're actually trying to do something, and AI becomes the means to get you there. And I think that's a big differentiator, at least for me. AI is something that has given me superpowers to get to where I want to get. But where I want to get is, I mean, that's where I want to go, regardless of whether AI is here.
Yeah. Sometimes the things I struggle with in thinking that way is I AI is so transformative that in some ways I don't even know what I can build yet.
Hmm.
So sometimes I feel like I need to learn the tool and then I can understand the goal. How do you think about the back and forth between that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely so there's definitely the general goal. What I want to get to, it's you know, I, I want a high quality of life, which doesn't always mean as much money as I can possibly amass. It means enough money to where I can be comfortable, enjoy my family, enjoy life, enjoy travel, and also while doing that, help as many people as I can. And I know I always have ideas. I always have things that I want to do. Now with AI, I can actually get to some of those ideas, and that's 100% true. If you are adaptive and innovative, you're gonna you're gonna see a new tool, and you're gonna see, oh, I can now do these things. So I'll give you an example. Um, for I mean, last year when I was coaching leaders and executives, they would come and say, "Hey, how do I implement AI into my organization?" And I would say, "You can do this, 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 and this." It was helpful, but now I can, starting maybe I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, really, since I mean, you and Claudia and Window brought me to Cloud Code. I can now tell leaders, you can do this by, creating a multi content repurposing tool that's going to save your team a lot of time, and they can focus on the quality of the content. And I can build that tool from scratch for your team, and you completely own that application. That's something I would have never been able to do before AI, before Cloud Code, really.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy that, there's a lot of people who probably never even start a software as a service business, but we all are users of software. Like we use Gmail, we're using
Mm,
software right now, Google Docs, everything. And so it just seems like every business is going to create software, even if they're not selling it just for themselves. And what you're doing with consulting is really interesting that in the past, if you're a consultant, it's mainly here's some advice, go out and do
mhm.
it, basically. And now you can actually build something for people. And if you've developed the skill, you can do it pretty quickly. It would take them a long time or they'd run into bottlenecks, but you can do it quickly. So I could see people, consultants making more than $1,000 per hour and at the same time, having very happy clients.
Yeah.
Do you feel like how do you look at that opportunity of, I guess, productized consulting for people who develop this expertise in consulting?
Yeah, it's really interesting because you have people, and I look at a lot of creators, for example, within Substack, awesome content. I mean, they're spending many hours every week putting posts together, and they're getting content out. But what's the reason behind their content? Where's that content getting them? You're educating for the sake of educating, but there's nothing beyond that. And the few people that I see being successful, I mean, obviously you're one of them. You've taken a lot of what you're writing about and then said, okay, this is a taste of my expertise. Now come in and let's do this high dollar, personal workshop to get you to where you want to go. I have I don't charge a lot for my yearly premium subscription on Substack. It gives access to a ton of tools that I have. But the main flow of my user flow is every single one of my posts says, if this is a problem that you're struggling with, reach out to me. Let's have a free booking session. And probably every week I get 2 to 3 new clients that I'm talking to just from my post. And each one of those clients could bring in a month, I don't know, $5,000 to $15,000. So that there has to be a continuity. Now, you also can't just jump into the consulting space if you don't have a proven expertise. That's where Substack and the articles come in because they show you have a track record of knowledge in a certain area. So I feel like the few that are successful, and I feel like I'm just starting. I want to get to where you are one day, but I look at it's a flow. You have the front end of content creation, but then you also have how do you essentially productize your expertise to bring in that extra added value to whoever needs it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it as well. I think there's going to be some people that build huge, like thousands of paid subscribers, but I think that's literally
Yeah.
0.001%. So, um, these higher ticket programs, what's beautiful about them is you get to actually really meet the people, support them through a shift, and that actually
Yeah.
helps your writing, makes it more targeted. And um, it's a lot.
Mhm.
You know, the odds of going to a few thousand people paying for a newsletter is very low, but the odds
Mhm.
of being able to have 10, 20 clients who you're really helping is very high.
Yeah.
And uh, I guess a question for you there is I had a question, then I lost it. Well, actually, here it is. One thing I'm struggling with a little bit, or I'm processing, is building Claude code, and do you think that's going to be a skill that comes core to knowledge work that everyone who does knowledge work? You're expected to do Claude code, or do you think we'll look back in 5 years and say, realistically, that was kind of a new specialty, like programming was a specialty. Not everyone learned how to program, although it could have been useful. How do you view that?
I I don't think I don't think it's going to get to the point where everybody's going to learn it. I think it's definitely going to expand beyond where we are, but I don't think it's going to get to the point because there is just like I don't know online research. Everybody has online research available. Think of Google's academic area where you can search and only get results from peer-reviewed articles or medical journals. Google has that feature, but just because it's there, people still go to crap resources and get crap research and then make decisions on that research. So to me, I think there are going to be a lot of businesses that are going to create a wrapper around something like Cloud Code, like Base 44 is an example.
Hmm.
It's really taken off, and it's a wrapper around something like Cloud Code, where somebody can just say, "Hey, I have this idea, create it for me," and it takes away probably 80% of the customization that you could do if you did it on Cloud yourself. But you kind of get the same idea. You get a product on the back end. It's not going to be as differentiated. I think that's going to become more mainstream. More apps that just say, you know, tell me what you want and I'll create you a website. But there's still going to be value in the expertise of Cloud Code, which who knows where Cloud Code is going to be in 2, 3, 5 years. I don't know. I just know I need to understand it now because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to catch up with it.
Do you feel, to me, it's so valuable that if people could press a button and do it, they would learn it. But is the reason you don't feel like it'll be more widely adopted is just it takes skills and takes time, and if people have a job and a family, it's just a lot of time.
Yeah, it just there are a lot of skills that come in to the picture. Like how long have we had, the level of AI that can go back and forth with you and look at your memory and collaborate with you and give you in-depth research? A long time. I recently saw, I don't know who did the survey, but the majority of people, something like 8 out of 10 people that have a Claude or a ChatGPT license are just using it to ask a question. What kind of what store has this item, or the kind of same thing that you would just do in Google. So when I see that 8 out of 10 people are barely scratching the surface of the most basic level of LLMs right now, I think that's why it's hard for me to imagine that becoming mainstream.
And when you work with clients and you're building things for them, are you teaching them how to use Claude Code as well, or you find that they don't even
No,
want to know that, they just want
they don't.
the
They don't
tool?
care. They don't care. The most that I've done with them is a couple of CEOs that are trying to put out a lot more content. I've created them a similar system to what my old system was in Claude with a project. So this 20 to 25 page project instructions that has your voice, it has your workflow, so that they can go back and forth with the tool on their phone on their way to work and come up with an article ready for their marketing team to post. So I've created that second brain system for them within Claude projects and skills within Claude. But the, I think the reason that they pay me is because they don't want to have to learn Claude code. They just want to reap the benefits.
Yeah. So you'll create them a pro or a skill, let's say, and then they'll, you'll a zip file, they'll upload it to Claude, and then you'll
Mhm.
walk them through how to install that and use that. But
Yeah.
they're not using Claude Code in terminal or
Mm-mm.
anything like that.
No. Honestly, I don't use Cloud Code in Terminal at all. I pretty much use it within VS Studio, and
Well,
just
that's kind
talk to
of
it.
terminal. I
Yeah,
guess I
I guess I don't use all the apostrophe, or not apostrophe. What is that called?
flash commands.
Slash commands. Yeah, I English is not my first language, and especially gives out in, in the weekends.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
even
use.
sense any accent on you, but interesting. Yeah, I guess there's an educator in me that I feel like, everyone should know this, and it's so
Yeah,
powerful
yeah,
that it's hard to see. Each of us have been focusing a huge amount of time the past few years on AI.
yeah.
So, would you recommend for the average person who's not is a skill direction you learn, like download Claude, get comfortable with Claude, and then the next step is Claude Code or Claude Cowork. Get used to using Claude Cowork on your computer, then Claude Code. Would you recommend sort of a progression?
Yeah, I would start. I mean, I would start with Claude. Either, yeah, I would say dump Chat GPT, but I'm a Claude fan. I would say start with Claude desktop or the app, move on to Claude skills and Claude projects, and then Claude code. I Claude Cowork, I like it. I mean, it interacts some with my desktop, but I'm just seeing Claude desktop just make Claude Cowork unnecessary for me. So I think people can jump straight in from projects and skills to Claude code.
That's been my experience as well. Although it just seemed like Cowork is a really, really popular among people, so maybe they just made it It's
Yeah,
basically like Claude Code, but just a little bit more simple.
yeah. It
I have
just looks
trouble
less.
telling the difference.
Uh, it just looks less scary, less dark and cody.
Yeah. Um, yeah, really interesting. So do you view yourself as you're going along to the future, doing more and more projects and designing? Are you basically kind of becoming like a software developer, internal software developer,
Yeah, I
in
mean,
some ways?
I feel like a lot of, oh, and this is for, I mean, anybody who even knows what Cloud Code is right now, I think is ahead of probably 99% of people in the world on where AI comes. And you are going to have an edge over the next decade if you start learning these things early. So the only reason that I even have a chance to do an AI build, which I say I, and Cloud Code probably does 95% of it. I come up with the ideas and how to make it look different than everybody else's stuff. But I think the leadership part is my expertise. It's what opens the doors. And then once the tool is there, that's also opening paths for me to say, okay, let's have a retainer. Let me be a fractional chief AI officer for your business. You get 4 hours of one-on-one meetings every month, and it's going to be $5,000 to $8,000 a month. And if you have 10 of those, I mean, you're set. You probably don't have much more bandwidth than that. And think of how many businesses are going to need somebody like that. I think the opportunities are huge.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every business, they either need to have that in-house or need to hire someone in that role.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know we have a mutual friend that's charging $35,000 a month for the chief fractional officer,
Yeah.
so that it's kinda crazy.
Yeah.
Um, are you mainly in your engagements working with CEOs or across the entire team?
It usually starts with one person. Um, and I do zero promotion outside of my posts. Like zero. I don't promote at all on LinkedIn. I just have my Substack newsletter, and I have if you're struggling with any of this, book a free intro meeting. And that's how I've gotten 100% of my clients. Some of them are CEOs, um, some of them are executive VPs, some of them are a lot of marketing execs, because marketing is one of the easiest places to get AI into an organization, for content repurposing, SEO analysis, and all those kind of things. And if I tell a company, I'll create a content repurposer for you, it's going to cost whatever, $5,000 to $10,000, depending on how complex it is. But they fully own it. They own the entirety of it. All they have to pay is maybe $5 for tokens for Claude every month, and they no longer have to pay a $20 to $25 license for this random content repurposer tool for 100 employees. That's saving them a lot of money in the long run.
I
So
think yeah, there's a
that's kind
huge
of how I
shift.
present it.
That's a really good point. I was always just thinking single seat in my mind, but in the past, if it was buy or build, it was just always easier to spend
Yeah,
$20 per month on
yeah,
something. But that is a good point. If there's something where it's 50 people paying $20 per month, if I could do the
yeah,
math here, that's $10,000 per month.
yeah,
So if you can say, I'll create this for 5 or 10,000, it can even be customized. The
yeah,
features you wish that other tool had, we'll add that.
yeah.
And then also I imagine it could be part of people's workflow as well.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, and it's white labeled. It's, I mean, everything. You have it ready to go. And I'll give you an example here. I Because I've been doing this for my personal, um leads, is it lead strong? Yeah. So this is a this is a tool that I make available for literally everybody who wants to remotely use it. I was paying $15 a month for a workout app. My wife was paying the same amount for hers, and it was just lacking things that we wanted, and it had ads and it had a ton of stuff that we didn't want. So maybe 2 3 months ago, I went into Claude, I got tired of paying this money for something I wasn't using, and I said, "Here are the top apps that I have. These are the top features from each of these apps that I like. I just need you to build this app for me." And since then, I have my own app. My wife has her own app. I make this available to all my subscribers. I'll drop the link here shortly. But it has, light or dark background, whatever you want. My streak this week. This saves into your phone. Um,
You save it
today's
as a website into your phone, or it's actually an iOS app?
I just save it as a shortcut into my phone. I have today's workout, so I can. This is the workout is by day. You have a weekly plan. This is
I do feel
if I
like
want to do.
if I talk to you ever before 9 a.m., you're always at the gym,
Yeah, yeah. I
jumping up
go I
something.
go 5 days a week. I mean, protein hierarchy, snack rules. I mean, everything that I go by in order to live. Not I don't. I'm just trying to be healthy and live as long as I can. A lot of this is based on the book Outlive. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've heard of it.
Yeah, Is that Peter Tia?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So it's leadstrong dot jsalinas.org. So this is just one example of a way that I'm using this app. Anytime I want a new exercise or I want to change, I just change it, and I am saving, $15. My wife no longer has a $15 app, so I'm saving almost $400 a year just on this.
And then it connects to a date. I mean, the user interface looks great, and also you create an account and it saves to a database?
No, I can create an account if more people start using it. It can go to Supabase, but right now it's all local storage. So if you use it on your phone, your workout progress is just saved in the internal storage of your phone. Since
Hmm.
most people just take, you know, the same phone to their workout every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really
So
cool.
it's one example, but I recently had a my wife wanted to do some landscaping in front of our house. I had a company come out and they planted, I don't know, 5 trees, 25 bushes. It was a big ticket that we had to pay. And I was talking to the contractor and he said, "Yeah, man, I wish I had this tool that I could just go on my iPad and I could just look at whatever house I'm about to go to and I could draw all the measurements and it would measure it all for me. I could print it out and then I'd go to the house with the printout where I could just draw what I want the landscaping to be." I created it with Cloud Code. I didn't know if I could be able to do it. And that cut probably 75% off of my bill. And now he has an app that he can use for his
Really?
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that
Yeah.
hustle. That's really cool. So, how long that's impressive that you're able to build production ready apps since you're not a programmer. When
Yeah.
did you make this shift? When did you build your first app?
I've been working with programmers for a while. So I know what I need to have on the back end. So I would say I spend a lot of time on every app that I create. My first app was probably my first app was a allowance savings calculator and like a electronic piggy bank for my daughter and my son, where they can track how much they spend, how much money they have to share every week, and they're able to put all that in. And I would say 50% of my time goes onto the build. Then the other 50% of my time goes onto my personal testing. Just stress test the heck out of every app, every single use case, just everything that I can do before it even goes to the client. Once it goes to the client, I give them 30 days where they can test and I'll iterate as much as they want. But if they don't give me the changes within 30 days, then it's going to be additional to get me. And I haven't had any big issues. I mean, yeah, I just think it's about knowing what it is that you want on the back end and testing it.
And, um, is there areas you see yourself specializing in? You mentioned content a few times, but are there types of tools that you see you're gonna see yourself specializing in? Or now are you kind of just reacting to where there's the most demand and, get people that initial win?
Yeah, I mean, business strategy is my strength, and so it's adaptable because as I talk to a business leader, we go through, okay, what is the weakest link in your chain? What is the area that you need to strengthen? And for a lot of organizations, content creation, content repurposing can open up time for strategy. So that's been something that's been really popular. But I'm working on a tool for a company now that's essentially, and again, it came out of a coaching uh, session that it's going to comb job websites, put everything into a newsletter. One of their agents is just going to comb through the newsletter, make sure everything's good, and then send out the newsletter on behalf of this talent agency. So there's just so many opportunities. Uh, I think my focus is always going to be, how to grow strategically, and then AI can come along and say, let's build the tools to get them there.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that first part is key because I think, deciding what you're going to build, and it could be something that saves the person time, like you said, to then focus more on high level things, or it could be take something they're already doing or they're not doing, but they've always wanted to do and to do it. But you're finding that the use case of just taking something they're paying for and replacing that is the way to get in the door, not necessarily to be like, hey, we could build this thing and that.
Yeah, yeah. So it, I think that's one of the errors with implementations, AI implementations. It's CEOs or executives saying, "Hey, let's just become so much more efficient. Everybody just start using AI." My approach is, let's start with what is a current pain point for you and your business, and let's bring AI to fix that. And people are not thinking that their jobs are going to be lost. People are not thinking they're going to be replaced. We're just looking at, okay, this is a pain point for everybody. Everybody recognizes it. We're just thinking of fixing it with AI. It had to be fixed anyway. But that's where I come in and say, yeah, let's use this tool. Let's use AI. That now buys goodwill with the company, with the clients, with the workers, and then they're going to be open to, oh, what about this? What about this? What if we open up this? And it opens doors that wouldn't have been open otherwise. But you start with a pain point, not just, hey, let me help you make twice as much money in a year.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
At least that's my approach. I mean, there's a lot of ways to approach it.
Okay, I personally found that really interesting. Oh, well, because I think so much conversation is on the tools, and I think the tools are amazing what they can do, but okay, what are businesses and how can people with an expertise in something actually turn that into revenue for them?
Mhm,
And so I guess my personal thing of I feel like the lowest hanging fruit for people is to go into some sort of AI consulting where they actually help implement their their
mhm,
expertise. So, okay, there's now with that said, switching over to the tech side of stuff. One thing that you've been doing a little some is computer use,
mhm.
where you have the AI do things. So, for example, uh, could you give some examples of where you use computer use the most, and maybe share your screen? I think it's still pretty slow,
Yeah,
I imagine, but maybe just giving an example.
yeah. So, um, let me pop it open here. Let me open this. Actually, I'll start with Cowork side. I normally do this on Cloud Code, but so you can see kind of the process that's happening. Let's just use um, Cowork instead of Cloud Code. So I, you can see my screen. This is actually something that I did recently. I asked Claude. So I'm a watch fan, and I asked Claude Code, I want you to research 50 watch micro brands. This is what I like in a watch. This is the kind of price range that I'm looking at. I'm doing a lot more Substack lives. I'm looking for a partner that I can go in and essentially show off their watches and just have a paid partnership with them. And Cloud Code essentially did the research, went online, went to all the tabs, told me which ones had a contact form, which ones had a um, email that I could send out. Then it built me a dashboard where all I had to do is essentially review an email and click send, and it sent it from my email. And I have a watch partnership now with Doxa Watches, a Swiss company. And that's something I would have never had the time to do. So let's try to do that real quick. And you can talk while I put the prompt together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. One integration that you can do with Claude Code is Google Workspace, CLI. That stands
Oh yeah.
for command line interface. So that rather than just this paradigm of where we personally sign up for all the software and then point and click on buttons, we're entering a world where you can directly connect to all these tools and get all your emails and have the AI look at your emails. I love the idea of creating a dashboard because you don't want to just send out the emails, but you also maybe not don't want to go to your drafts folder and see it. So if you have the dashboard, I'd be really interested in seeing it. If not,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I'll come up with a dashboard out of this, and it'll build it while we're talking. So I'm asking, build a dashboard of 5 potential watch companies for Kazora. I need watches around $5,000 to $10,000. Give me 5 contacts with names, companies, personalized outreach. Create the email. Um, After research, display all in a Kazora branded dashboard. So another thing that I use heavily on Claude is skills. I have them both in Claude and in Claude Code, and I have a skill, probably a 10 to 12 page skill for each of my 4 companies. So whenever I reference a company, I don't have to add any context. It will go into
Mhm.
that and essentially comb through it. Okay. And it already pulled the skill under skills. I can see that it's pulling the Kazor brand skill here. I can click on it and it'll let's allow it. This is the colors for Kazora, the main colors, the usage rules, fonts, logo rules, use of gradients. I mean, everything is on there. What the business tone is, mission, vision, and this saves me from having to spend so much time building a perfect prompt. The context is there. It's going to reference it. I just need to reference Kazora or any of my other brands, and it's going to pull up the skill.
Nice.
We'll see. I don't know how long it'll. Okay, it's reading the skill. Okay, so in this case, it didn't even need to. It just used search feature. It didn't actually go to the website. What I like about both Cowork and Cloud Code is whenever they don't find what, like if a website says, and Substack does this sometimes, it doesn't let AI just crawl it automatically. It'll just pop open the browser, go to that URL, download the content, and pop it in. So I don't know, it's kind of a sneaky way to get around
Yeah, yeah.
get any of the content that it needs.
Basically, there's no way to stop it. Yeah.
I mean, unless there's a paywall, it's not going to get through paywalls unless you log in first. But yeah, like having a .txt on a website that stops AI crawling really, really is not going to do much.
Okay, so it's
Uh,
creating the dashboard, and so it's gonna create it as an artifact here?
yeah, it's going to create it as an artifact. It essentially uses the Claude Code brain in the background. It's not going to be as easy for me to interact with it as it would be in Claude Code. Um, but we can chat while he builds it, and then I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it has
And
it.
and I guess one thing is, as you said, not all the watch companies would have emails. So basically, you could theoretically have it visit a page with just a contact form and actually fill in the contact form. Have
Yeah,
you done that before?
I've there's been there's been a lot of things like that I've done where one of the reasons I don't trust AI too much. I don't I don't use pages like browsers like Comet or Atlas because I don't want AI to be looking at everything that I'm looking at. I would never open banking sites. I would never open my credit card sites because I don't want to give it access to everything. So what I use Claude on Chrome often. Whenever I wanted to do something, so for example, if I wanted to go through through some website and I wanted to, okay, I want you to go through all of these corporations and find their contact form and fill something out for me. I can just ask Claude Code to do it and give it access only to those tabs. And I do that often to fill in requests, warranties, support tickets, follow ups. All that's done
So
automatically.
if you give access, so Claude in Chrome, for those who don't know, is a Chrome extension that you can get. And when you're using it, you can stipulate only go to these URLs and then I won't be able to go to other websites. Is that the case?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So let me show you what this looks like.
And we just lost your screen share, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm switching over to online. So dashboard is built. As you well know, Michael, these are the Kazora colors, the teal and
Yeah.
the pink. This is the Kazora. It's not exactly the logo, um, but it has a dashboard. It has prospect companies: Omega, TechHero, Tudor, Breitling. For each one of them, it tells me how good of a fit they are. It already looked for who the current VP is or director, gave me their personal email address, view the personalized outreach email. In this case, it already knows that the contact is the VP of marketing, Alejandra. Hey, Alejandra, their move towards this is exactly what they want. Kazora runs live education sessions led by practitioners. Our members are senior professionals, technical leaders in companies. They value precision, performance, and staying ahead. Sound familiar? Don't crack under pressure is the tagline. Resonates with our audience because that's what AI adoption feels like. Blah, blah, blah. We're opening a limited number of brand partnerships for 2026. Would you be interested? And I can tweak it to where I just click send straight from here because this is connected to my email, or I
Oh,
can copy the email.
so it navigate to your Gmail, click compose, and then just would it type it out or would it actually just copy and paste the whole thing in one fell swoop?
In this case, it would just copy it. But what I normally do is something like this. If they respond, I want to respond myself. But if in a case where I'm just reaching out to 50 different companies, I don't want to have there's no reason I need to be doing that. So I would just say I want a send email button that will send this directly from my Gmail. And then it's already connected. This is only going to work if your I mean you were talking about the connections earlier. Settings, connectors, you have to be connected to Gmail. I don't know why Gmail's must have timed out. I want to see if it's going to do it even with that not on.
Yeah, I guess it could just literally visit your using Claude and Chrome, just visit
Yeah,
it and use your session.
yeah. Creating all 5 drafts in your email. So one of the biggest pieces that I would recommend to everybody who's watching is you don't drift into successful AI use. You have to get there strategically. And at some point, you have to stop back away from your machine, go to a coffee shop, take a notebook and a pen, and just write down what are all the things that you want to keep for yourself, the things that you want to do and only you do. And then go back to AI. And then you already know, okay, these are the things that I'm going to let AI do. In my case, I don't mind it just reaching out automatically to all these companies on cold emails. But all replies have to come through me. So you have to. Is that something that you've ever thought about, Michael?
Yeah, basically, I feel like a core thing here is where you want to be the human in the loop.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's one right answer. I think it depends on what AI is really good at and what it's not good at, and then where you want to play a role. I
Mhm.
saw there's this app called Boardy. Have you ever heard of it?
It sounds familiar.
Boardy. So let me see if I can. All right. Can actually let me share my screen on this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me a second here. Boardy. Okay. So This is actually before. Okay, so making sure I'm sharing the right screen. All right. So you can see my screen now.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, cool. So this was created before Claude Code, and the idea is it's a WhatsApp agent that
Huh.
makes introductions to you. So
Interesting.
onboarding and AI super connect. I'll connect you with investors, customers, talent, new deals. So you fill out information about you. Okay, I'm looking for
Hmm.
co-founder, and then you enter information. I'm not going to do it now. And then what happens is it actually reaches out to you via WhatsApp,
Oh, wow.
and it just asks you some follow-up questions, and it gave some information. And then, for example, even a few days ago, it said, "Hey, Michael, I just spoke with someone in St. Louis, based founder operator who runs Chapters.io, leads 10x Studios, and has 25 years of da da da
Huh.
experience. I think I enjoy the below, and I actually did think it was a good connection. So, but I didn't. I forgot to respond.
Very cool.
So basically, I could respond, but that is an example of just a different workflow where let me stop sharing. Rather than it just reaching out and then me having to get involved. I
Mhm.
think that's an interesting paradigm where you can create an agent that can be helpful. I don't know all the different possibilities, but it just strikes me that it's a great
Yeah,
experience actually interacting with it. And then every time you interact with it, it collects your information. It has people it can introduce you to. So
yeah.
it's
That's really
neat.
cool. I do have a I do have a plan in the next year to create something like what I did for the watches, to create essentially a SaaS company for newsletter creators to automatically reach out to partners through
Ooh,
something like
I
this.
like that.
If I had more time, I would do it. Um, but
That's
let
the
me.
hard part. That's why I asked you where
I
you
know.
focused, because I can build any tool. But yeah, what you said about marketing, I've experienced is true over time. Is out of all the disciplines, it seems to be the most tech friendly.
Oh yeah.
Any social media any wave, marketing is first, whether it's social media or something else. I feel like
Hmm.
they're the first experimenting for the
Let
better
me
or worse.
let me show you this. You were asking how I use what's one simple use case for this. And I just pulled it up to show you here. I I did this recently. I needed to put up a French drain in my backyard. It was about 10 feet with a pop up emitter, and I just opened the Home Depot page and I just typed it in there, and I went to the gym. I just said I need a 10-foot French drain with pop up in my yard. Add all relevant items to my cart, and it's just
Oh, you
it,
actually had to
it's
add it to your cart too.
yeah, it's doing it all by himself. I'm not going to have it buy anything for me. But I mean, it's doing all this autonomously. And there were a ton of things that I did this with something else. And I got back and there were 43 different items in my cart ready to go. Okay. So in this case, I have everything I need. And I came back from being in the gym for 1 hour. I just went through the cart and I clicked purchase, and it saved me probably an hour and a half of having to search through what fits what and what goes what. And I just bought the items, and every single item was accurate.
Wow,
So
wow.
that's just a quick example of something you can do.
Yeah, in some ways, I feel like the skill of this, the programming is the easy part in a way. I
Yeah,
think getting to s- get it into your workflow so that when you
that's
think
true.
about reaching out to someone, it's like, oh, what would be in my head? I use the AI native term AI native. What would be the AI native way of doing this?
Hmm.
And doing that with every workflow, whether it's shopping online for Home Depot or other things. And then once you do that, then you just get more ideas on how to get higher and higher leverage
Yeah,
from it. Where uh, so it it's it's crazy. It's also, I feel like, sometimes overwhelming because
yeah,
there's just so much opportunity, but you can't. If you try to do everything, you're not going to be good at any one thing. And then there's also this feeling of urgency to do things. So I know you took the day off today, except for this call, and I took a half day off yesterday because I was, I don't know why you did, but for me, I was feeling like, all right, I had too much AI input. I need to take a break here and just remember I don't need to burn the midnight oil every night.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big. Just because you can do something, whether it's AI or anything else, doesn't mean that you have to do every second of it. So for me, I if I'm burnt out, I I'm not creative. Ideas are not coming to me. I feel like I have a wall in front of me. I my daily routine is I get up, my wife goes to the gym, I have breakfast with the kids, my wife comes back, I go to the gym, I'll take a shower, and I go to work. And then usually I'm taking care of all my stuff. And usually in between the day, every single day, I have an automation that has a 2 hour focus time block in my calendar where I don't get any emails, I don't get any chats. I have 2 hours of focus time every single day. So I've found what I need to be able to not have a foggy mind all the time. And it helps me be productive. And there are a lot of things that I wish I had time to do, like this sponsorships app for newsletter creators. Eventually I'll get to it, but um, if somebody else in the chat wants to do it, hey, be my guest.
Is there a new way to think about prioritization that you feel like you've had to learn? I'm kind of going through a process right now where my current prioritization process returns back way too many things. Maybe in the past it whittled it down. I'm
Yeah.
feeling like I need new ways of deciding what not to do in some ways.
Yeah, I've definitely had to say no to a ton of stuff. Um, I, you know, Sam Illingsworth.
Yeah.
We were in conversations to do some kind of literacy course. I have a background in higher ed. On the business, I was a business development director for a higher ed organization, and I just couldn't do it. And I have different people reaching out with really good ideas for tools for apps, and I I just have to choose. So right now, my focus is obviously on my newsletter, which is driving my consulting business, and then we have Kazora that we're building. And then I launched with Window in January, newslettercompass.com, which is an AI toolkit for creators. But that kind of runs itself. There was a lot of work on the front end to put it together.
I'll put a link in the
Now,
chat.
yeah, I appreciate it. Now it's just maintaining it. But on the ground, really, my focus is my newsletter and Kazora.org, which we're moving over to Substack, which is really exciting. Everybody's gonna have a lot more access, and you're just gonna see Kazora a lot more in your feed.
Yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, check out Kozora. I'll see if I can put a link on Substack. We were originally on Kajabi, and because we wanted to reach out to creators across lots of different platforms and not just do paid subscriptions, but uh, Substack pulled this in. And I feel like its features have been getting better and better,
Yeah.
and actually, I feel like it's been a great move. So if you want a free subscription there, you can check that out.
Let me show you something here, Michael, that was a game changer for me in my use of Claude Code that I think you may like because I know you've been using it a lot. Um, so as you can see, I I currently have four different projects going on my Claude Code, but I got this from I don't even know who it was, somebody's article on Substack, and I kind of took it beyond where they originally had it. But I have you've heard of OpenClaw.
Yep. Yeah.
OpenClaw is essentially it. It's essentially Claude Code with a personality in a lot of ways. So I did that. One of the main pieces of Claw, OpenClaw is it's a file called Soul. Soul.md is essentially its
Mm.
personality file. I created something similar for me, so mine's called Alfred. Um, so I need you to break down quickly for me what are all the different agents that you sub deploy every time we have a consulting project go through or a newsletter app? What are all the agents? Present them at a table.
And Joel, just to give you a heads up, I actually do have an appointment on the hour, so I will need
Okay.
to go in less than a minute. But
Okay. I don't know if this is going to finish on time, but essentially, I have a list of maybe 12 different sub agents that all have their own MD file. I have one for research, planning, UI, copy, backend, SEO, Q&A, deployment. This really has helped me avoid a lot of errors
so rather
on
than
my
just
builds.
one universal claude.mdv, which is kind of a
Yeah,
system prompt that every time your agent runs, you see it.
yeah,
You've the problem is that can get super long. You really
exactly.
divide it into separate
So
ones.
it's an orchestrator that sends sometimes 7 to 9 different little projects and then brings them all back together. That's been a huge help for me.
Yeah.
Man, if y'all don't know, Michael and I sometimes send each other 10-minute WhatsApp recorded messages back and forth. So I know we could talk for hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm happy we had this first call live. I hope we have many more.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this was helpful for everyone here and hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And you can follow Joel at Leadership in Change. I'm Blockbuster Blueprint, and we also co founded Kozora.
Mhm.
So check out all three of those. And
Thanks,
until next
Michael.
time, see you
Appreciate
guys.
it. See ya.